Dear Director General, dear ministers, and I hope I can say dear friends, once more I will start with thanking the Brazilian government for organizing this politically very important conference, for taking the lead in the fight against child labor, and for making the call for redoubled efforts and adjusted strategies widely heard. But this time, I also want to specifically thank all the workers behind the scenes who have made this happen, workers in the different ministries and in the ILO, but also the interpreters, hotel staff, catering workers, cleaners, security, technicians, drivers, the people who've guided us around in the last 2 days. Without all their hard work, we wouldn't be here. Muito obrigado. With a certain degree of jeitinho brasileiro, or the unconventional Brazilian way of fixing things, Brazil has managed to gather 1,300 delegates in this room. All dedicated people contributing their time and expertise. The bulk of the world's knowledge on child labor has gathered here, in these rooms, the past few days. If there is ever a new strategy to be designed at this point, here is where it needed to happen. But this conference didn't only gather experts, it also gathered committed leaders, presidents, ministers, high officials in governments, leaders in trade unions, in businesses, and international organizations and civil society from all over the world. If there is ever a strategy to be implemented, it will have to be done by us. We will have to take the responsibility to take the excellent declaration back to our countries and organizations and to do all within our powers to make it happen. We cannot give up, not now, not while we have made such progress in the last few years. We need to get to work on the same track that has led to 47 million less child laborers in the last 4 years, and apply more of what has worked. Move away from small-scale projects and move towards sustained and integrated policies and results-based institutional implementation strategies. There have been extensive debates and many valuable contributions. The right things have been said, but now we need to act. First and foremost, governments. Ratify key conventions, strengthen the labor inspectorate, stop the austerity measures, make sure every child is in school, train those teachers, make sure they have decent working conditions, make sure to develop educational plans with them, not just for them. Make sure that employment law covers all workers, including those in agriculture and domestic work and in the informal economy. Make sure that social protection system protect those who need it the most. Set up vocational training programs. And businesses. Respect the law. Child labor is illegal everywhere. It's simple. Increase transparency, rule out unnecessary middlemen and subcontractors. Restore the employment relationship and respect the people who drive your businesses. Allow workers to organize and negotiate decent wages. Stop using social auditing as a disclaimer, but use it as a management tool and act upon the identified risk of child labor. Use your leverage. Develop industry-based approaches to mitigate the risk of child labor in your supply chains. And compensate workers' families where you have caused or contributed to child labor. And us, trade unions. Let's remember that where there are good and effective trade unions, there is no child labor. If there are still 168 million children working, we have clearly not done enough. We should reach out in solidarity to those most vulnerable families where child labor is. Let's organize those agricultural workers and small farmers so they can negotiate wages until none of these rural families is forced to send their children onto the fields to make ends meet. Let's organize those domestic workers so they can have better working conditions. Let's organize all informal economy workers so they can be protected. Let's step up our efforts to monitor and report child labor. Let's hold businesses and governments to account. And let us team up with civil society and NGOs while doing so. This is certainly not an exhaustive list, and we will not be able to do all within this list, but all of us are able to do something within this list. And we all have the obligation to do something in this list. If we don't do this, this conference will have been a failure. Let's hope that in 2017, we can celebrate the elimination of child labor. Let's get to work. Let's get to decent work. Thank you.